It's going down. Shalom. First and foremost, giving all praises, honor, glory, respect, and blessings to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rachakwadash. Salutations to the Lord's elect on the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth in sincerity while patiently waiting for Yahweh Shai's return. And double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, which have taught us everything we know through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. And welcome to another series of It's Going Down, being brought to you by the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai.
On this Saturday night, dangerous weather putting lives at risk. As extreme heat and wildfires scorch parts of California,
this heat is killing us.
Concern grows over the state's power grid, plus on the ground in Pakistan. Canadian efforts to help.
And yeah, let me remind you that they said that California's temperatures were reaching up to 116 degrees. Okay? 116 degrees. So hot that they're saying that this temperature could possibly cause power outages in California. Now we must, go back to the book of Exodus, where the Lord brought 3 days of darkness upon the ancient Egyptians. Now when you read the book of 2nd Esdras, the 15th chapter, the Lord said that he will smite Egypt with plagues as before. Modern day Egypt today would be the United States of America, who spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, and is also known as Babylon the Great in the Holy Scriptures.
As the death toll and displacement from historic flooding climbs. Mission aborted. Why NASA's Artemis 1 moon launch is canceled.
Launch Director Charlie Blackwell Thompson has called a scrub.
For a second time in a week. The end of a brilliant career. These are happy tears, I guess. And tennis icon Serena Williams' impact on the next generation.
Global national.
The next generation. There ain't gonna be no next generation. Okay? America's finished. This whole world is finished. Okay? When Yahushua come back in this generation, this whole world is going to be under new management.
On NASA. Reporting tonight, Colleen Christie.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. The catastrophic effects of climate change are on full display tonight on opposite sides of the...
And who's responsible for the climate change? Well, let's see. The United States government goes around doing something called geoengineering, where they spray where they spray particular chemicals in the air in order to manipulate the weather. Okay, look it up. It's called geoengineering. Okay, messing with the Earth's weather patterns. They also have something called a HARP program, which HARP is a mechanism, a machine that is used to control the weather, to make it rain at will, to make it extra hot, extra cold, to cause tornadoes, tsunamis, earthquakes, you name it. Okay, the HARP program is being used daily. There is no such thing as global warming. Okay, the whole Earth's weather pattern is out of whack because the wicked is in rulership, using the HARP program and doing something called geoengineering.
Globe. In Pakistan, more than 33 million people are now affected by devastating floods, while in California, the state already in a deep drought heads into the worst of its fire season. And that's where we begin our coverage. As Jennifer Johnson reports, some residents are literally fleeing for their lives. California is literally burning up. Thousands have been ordered to evacuate as the so-called mill fire rages out of control. Many residents had almost no time to collect their belongings when the emergency order to get out was issued.
Just a couple of backpacks, clothes on our back. My youngest son don't even have shoes on his feet.
Rapid rate of spread.
And now, just across an interstate from the mill fire, another wildfire has broken out, the mountain fire. More residents in that area have been told to leave too. The fires and smoke are shutting down major highways. Holiday travel.
And these wildfires are only going to cause temperatures to rise even more. Okay, you thought 116 degrees was hot? Well, these wildfires are going to make it even more hotter out there. Okay? Now, just real quick, I got a scripture because the Lord said that he was going to cause these fires. And indeed, he is. Okay, Jeremiah chapter 21, verse 14. But I will punish you according to the fruit of your doings, save the Lord. So these wildfires is the Lord punishing the inhabitants of California. Why? For their wickedness. And if you notice, it's mostly Edomites being affected by this wildfire, okay? And a matter of fact, let's get there real quick, all right? Because the Edomites are also known as the wicked, according to the book of Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. Who's ruling the earth today? Who is the earth given into the hands of today? Who has control over the whole planet Earth? The Edomites do, starting with the so-called global elites. Okay? Starting with the so-called global elites. They have control over the entire world through their monetary banking system. Okay? And okay, these are your biblical Edomites along with the rest of their nation of people. Okay? That also includes so-called white people. The biblical Edomites, and also known as the wicked, according to the Holy Scriptures. And that's really starting with the so-called elites, trickling down to the rest of their nation of people, which are so-called white people. So Psalm 7 verse 11, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai judgeth the righteous, and God is angry with the wicked every day. So here you go. Here is the result of the Lord's anger towards the wicked. Now let's go back. Jeremiah chapter 21 verse 14. But I will, right, when you punish somebody, obviously you're punishing them because they are doing something that is displeasing in your eyes. Okay, but I will punish you according to the fruit of your doings, save the Lord. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And I will kindle a fire in the forest thereof, and it shall devour all things round about it. Okay, that also includes your precious little belongings that you did not have time to collect. Okay, could you imagine that? Okay, people living way out there in the wilderness, they might have had, you know, tens of thousands of dollars worth of equipment. All of it got burned away by those wildfires because they didn't have time to pack them up. They didn't have time to order a U-Haul truck in order to put their belongings in the back of. You know, you didn't have time to put your precious furniture, like your couches, your beds, you know, your studio set, your band sets. You know, you didn't have time to pack up your PlayStation or your Xbox. You didn't have time to pack up that $7,000 computer thing. You know, you've lost a lot of data and a lot of money. Okay, call Halalim La, Alahayanawa, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rachakwadash.
Travelers heading north this weekend are being warned to take precautions.
Emergency roadside kits, I highly recommend. Have a phone charger with you and water because this heat is killing us.
Deadly high temperatures are threatening lives not only in California but in several other nearby states.
You hear that? High temperature heat is threatening lives. The Lord, this is all the work of the Lord, man.
It's become unbearable for residents of the San Fernando Valley Senior Mobile Home Park, which lost power Thursday night.
It's terrible. The heat is it's killing me.
The intense heat is too much for the power grid.
Oh, the heat is killing you. You poor little thing. Well, wait a minute. What about when we was in slavery? Remember when you had us in slavery, working out in the hot blazing sun, blood, sweat, and tears, no food in our stomach, no water. You didn't care if we died of thirst or hunger. You just had us out there in the hot blazing sun, sweating, getting whipped on the back, picking baskets of potatoes and picking cotton and carrying heavy baskets of potatoes and tobacco and cotton. Oh, but now that the Lord is bringing judgment on you, you want to play the role of the victim here. Now you want to be the victim. Now you're the victim.
Areas. Residents are being urged to turn up their air conditioning thermostats to cut electricity use. Outside Los Angeles, urged to turn up their... Killing me. The intense heat is too much for the power grid in many areas. Residents are being urged to turn up their air conditioning thermostats to cut electricity use.
You hear that? And this is the devil we're talking about here. Residents are being told to turn off their air conditioning thermostats. Now, you got to be a fool to actually believe that turning off your air conditioner will prevent the power grid from being knocked out. You got to be a real fool to believe that. Okay? First off, the power grid, electricity is not affected by heat. So all you people down there that's turning off your air conditioner, you know, you're playing right into the devil's hands. They want you to turn off your air conditioning. They want you to turn off your air conditioning thermostat to prevent the power grid from going out. Only a fool would believe that. Shit. Hey, if I were you, I would keep the air conditioner on. Okay? Like, as if high heat is going to cause an electrical... No. No, okay? Okay? Well, anyways, you know, this is all judgment coming from Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai. Hey, when you're cooking inside your own home, you deserve it.
Outside Los Angeles, officials are warning of rolling blackouts between Sunday and Tuesday.
What we're trying to do is lessen the effect on our load, and if we can do those and do them spread out.
I'm just going to tell you right now, the electrical grid, the power grid, is not affected by the heat. If the electricity go out, it's because the government is responsible for it. Okay? Because the power grid, all of that stuff is controlled by the government. If there's a power outage, you better best believe the government is responsible for it. It ain't got nothing to do with no heat. So like I said, if you believe that turning your air conditioner off will prevent the power grid from going out, then you're an idiot. And you deserve to be cooked inside your own home.
That would help us not to have bigger outage.
Hey, the scriptures speak about simple-minded fools. Okay, the scriptures say that the simple believeth every word, but the prudent looketh well into his going.
Heat is so suffocating, emergency crews are responding to hundreds of heat-related calls a day.
Right, because their air conditioner unit is off. Are you serious? Woo, boy. But you see, this is what the so-called elites do. They play on the ignorance of you people. They play on the ignorance of you people.
Officials are warning people to stay inside from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Yeah, they want you to stay inside your homes where it's much hotter at, because I can almost guarantee it'd be less hotter outside if you just sat in the shade underneath a tree and would at least fan yourself or wait for a breeze. But for you to sit inside your own home, your own house, for you to sit inside your own house that's collecting heat, that's trapping heat inside, bro, Hey, but you know what, man? You know what? Let's go, man.
Well, I'm Canadian, so I'm not really built for this heat. I'm going to try and wear a light color on like this black shirt today and drink a lot of water. That's my goal.
Millions of others are sharing that goal as this end of summer long weekend scorches parts of the U.S. West. Jennifer Johnson, Global News, Washington. In Alberta, crews are working to control a lightning-caused wildfire in Jasper National Park. It started overnight Thursday.
Lightning-caused wildfire. Okay, let's read it again. This wildfire was caused from a lightning strike. Jeremiah 21 verse 14. But I will punish you according to your doings, save the Lord, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, and I will kindle a fire in the forest thereof. The Lord said that he will kindle a fire in the forest thereof, and it shall devour all things round about it. There you go. The Lord caused this wildfire, just like how he caused the other wildfire by the scorching heat.
Fire control lines were put in place early this morning to protect power lines to the town of Jasper. No communities are at risk, but Environment Canada has issued a special air quality statement. And in BC, there's a new wildfire about 8 kilometers west of Penticton. Officials say the Blue Mountain wildfire is currently out of control and is suspected to be human-caused. To Pakistan now, where a flooding crisis of unimaginable proportions continues to unfold. The United Nations says record monsoon rains have already caused more than 1,200 deaths, and the situation is expected to get worse. And the World Health Organization estimates more than 6.4 million people are in dire need of humanitarian aid. And with infrastructure heavily damaged in parts of the country, Pakistani officials are pleading for help from the international community. Tonight, Brittany Rosen reports on how some Canadians are stepping up.
Left with nothing, boats carry a microscopic fraction of the 33 million Pakistanis affected by catastrophic floods. This footage captured firsthand by Winnipegger Masroor Khan, who is on the ground to help.
I have seen some areas where literally people are just...
And who's responsible for these floods? The Lord is, okay? Let's start with Nahum. And I'm only covering the wildfires and the floods. And probably the drought too, the California droughts, if I can even find it. Nahum chapter 1 verse 3, okay? The Lord is slow to anger and great in power, and will not at all acquit the wicked. So if you're being wicked, the Lord's not going to let you slide, man. He's going to get you. The Lord have his way in the whirlwind and in the storm. How do you think these floods, are started? Through storms. Or tsunamis or hurricanes, which a tsunami is an earthquake that happens below an ocean or a river that causes destabilization of the water, which then causes the water to overflood into the city. Okay, that's where you get your tsunamis from. A tsunami is just an earthquake that happens underwater, under a river, under a lake, under an ocean. It causes the water to destabilize and causes waves to crash and overflow into the city, causing a flood. And of course you got hurricanes too, where you got heavy winds and rain blowing, which then causes so much water on the ground that the sewage systems overflow. And just like that, you got a flood in your streets. So it says, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. Okay, now let's go to Isaiah chapter 29 verse, I'll just hit 1. Okay, Isaiah chapter 29 verse 6. It says, thou shalt be visited of the Lord of hosts with thunder and with earthquake and with great noise, with storm and tempest. Isn't that how floods begin through storm and tempest and the flame of devouring fire. Okay, Matthew chapter 24 verse 7. Because again, tsunamis, floods also come from tsunamis, earthquakes that happen under rivers or oceans, which causes the water to destabilize, underground, and then causes the water to overflow, creating waves that then crash and overflood into a city, causing a flood. Matthew 24:7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. Okay, let's type in storm here. It's Psalms chapter 83 verse 15. So persecute them with thy tempest and make them afraid with thy storm. There you go.
Sitting under the sky, and they don't have any shelter.
Starting in Islamabad, Khan says he is traveling to relief camps at badly hit regions along the Indus River, providing food, supplies, and service where needed.
So persecute them with that storm.
2010 floods, when something similar happened, and this is of a higher magnitude, and I know the plight of the people back in 2010, and definitely compelled me to go back.
Khan is again tasked with helping those caught in the crossroad of a climate disaster and a humanitarian crisis, which has left more than 1,200 dead and an estimated $10 billion US worth of damage.
The scale of devastation is massive and requires immense humanitarian response for 33 million people. For this, I appeal to my fellow Pakistani expatriates and the international community to help Pakistan in this hour of need.
Ravaging floodwaters have also caused a health crisis, creating an ideal climate for waterborne illnesses and leaving hundreds of thousands of pregnant women potentially in need of care.
Things like cholera, typhoid, E. coli infections, and these can be devastating, especially when so many people are exposed in such a short period of time.
Which is why
we're making sure that we get people clean drinking water.
Canadian organizations like Global Medic are acting quickly to send humanitarian aid that includes water purification units. The Canadian government has so far pledged
much more frequent, and they're happening really all over the world now.
That's because as the planet warms, more water off the oceans and also off land is being released into the atmosphere. It acts like another greenhouse gas, literally juicing storms and making them more powerful.
So as the planet warms up, the capacity of the atmosphere to hold water vapor is going to go up. And that is basically, leading to events like this.
There were the storms that pounded Germany last year, the atmospheric rivers that drenched BC last fall, and Hurricane Harvey that stalled over Houston in 2017. And that's to say nothing of more heat waves. Experts fear climate change means that weather extremes like...
Rachel Gilmore, Global News, Ottawa.
The second launch attempt.
Alright, so, that's pretty much it, man. With that, I'm going to say Shalom is on to the next one.